All right, so I thought about this for the last couple of months. Last season of My Hero Academia, why wouldn't I cover it on this feed? Well, I'll tell you why, Kyle. You didn't cover the last season, you dope. And also, you haven't made a podcast in like 6 months and counting, maybe 7 months now. So why come back now to do the last season of My Hero Academia? Well, 2 reasons. One, I was bullied into it by, majority of the Discord members. And that hurt my feelings. And I thought to myself, yeah, they're right. I should watch it. And I've enjoyed these first 2 episodes immensely. And we're going to talk about them a little bit. But the second reason is that I love this show and I kind of forgot. Here's the weird thing about My Hero Academia, to me at least. And I don't know, I guess distance from the last season, like it's been like, what, 2 years, like a full 2 years, I think. It's been such a long time from the last season that checking into the first 2 episodes of this season, I don't want to say it's like confusing, but I have a lot of moments where I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot. And to their credit, they do a wonderful job with giving you some flashbacks to be able to explain in case you don't remember fully. And that kind of, helps take up screen time, which is cool for them too. There's just so much in this series. And I think the first 2 episodes of this last season are wonderful examples of that. You just heard Mike Norm sneeze. It's because he's in the other room. I'm borrowing my aunt's garage. So we're going to just read through these Wikipedia, what do they call them? Synopses for episodes 160 and 161. Now, everyone's going to want to talk about 161, so I'm going to read 160 more or less all the way through. Maybe get some comments throughout. I don't know. But just in case you haven't watched these 2 episodes yet, you want the context of 160, right? But also maybe just go fucking watch them. So 160, Toshinori Yagi, Rising / Origin. To which I had to ask myself, you couldn't pick one. Maybe it's both. That's what it is, Kyle, you fucking idiot. It's both. Anyway, All Might continues his hard-hitting battle against the rewinding All for One, pushing his armored suit to its limits. He uses support items to attempt to lure All for One to a specific location while making him overuse his quirks to rapidly increase the rewind effect. But the villain corners and retaliates, confident at being the one in control. Yeah, I kind of, like I said, I don't really think I remembered that the last season ended up with that cliffhanger of All Might just showed up in a fucking old man Batman Beyond suit. I'm about to whoop some ass. And I'm sure, I definitely had questions. I'm like, what are you going to do? Like, how much can this suit really do for you? Yeah, I kind of forgot the cliffhanger of he shows up, he kind of maybe whoops a little bit of ass for like a few seconds, and it's like, tune in next season in 2 years. And I'm like, fuck, how much stuff is going to happen in the next 2 years? Is my brain going to be the same? No, it's not, Kyle. You're old. Also, a lot of shit's happened in the last 2 years, both personally and like in the world and kind of professionally as well. It's exhausting. So, my memory is fucking shot, is what I'm trying to say. But seeing this All Might in a Batman Beyond old man Bruce Wayne suit versus All for One is, on its face, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to enjoy this. So he's probably about to get embarrassed, right? And at the end of it, in retrospect, he kind of does. But you have the cool moment of, him going through all those different pieces of equipment or like different abilities that he had in the suit. And it all derives from all the students from Class 1A and all the things that he's learned about them or through them in terms of being a hero and how to use the ability over the last couple of years. So that moment alone It's like old man All Might, he no longer has the quirk, but is actually inspired and carry on by, the quirks that his students possess, and he's helped to, hone and develop, right? So fucking flattering, really cool trip back through most of, the seasons and some of their major moments. Maybe not major moments, but like major moments for the respective characters and their abilities. Even if they didn't do a particular flashback to them, which I don't think they really did in this case, which is good because that would bog down the narrative so goddamn bad. Um, it's cool that if you're a dude who's been watching it and you know it all, and you know it all is kind of the wrong thing to say, but like you've been watching it from the beginning and you understand these characters, I guess. It's cool to see him utilize those quirks in that way. So, yeah, that makes the ass whooping worth it in retrospect. All right, I said I was going to read these all the way through, and I'm not doing a good job for that. All for One mocks him for being so weak, forced to rely on a suit that replicates his students' quirks, which he starts ripping apart, and that his life is about to be snuffed out in front of everyone on the cameras. Yeah, it's interesting because, like, it feels like fucking a year ago already, but remember that time that dude got pew-pewed at the college thing in the neck? Whichever way you feel about it, I don't particularly care for what I'm about to say, but like the effect that that has on people to see it on such a mass scale, so publicly and so readily available, whether people opt in to see it or not, having those clips play out on social media, or in this case for All Might, like on the news, or the marketing students from UA who are doing their thing with their camera phones. Watching this shit publicly shapes the consciousness of a nation for good or for bad. And I don't know, but I feel like watching a dude like All Might die on live television, that just throws your confidence in the world like right into the shitter, right? All right. I just had to get that out. All Might counters and claims that others will pick up from where he left off, and after pinning him down, unleashes a giant laser barrage onto them, which was cool. Meanwhile, back at the Troy battlefield, the villain Cuneta. Oh, that's right. There's like a whole other part of this episode, huh? Okay, okay. I forget how podcasting works. Just give me a break here, guys. The villain Cuneta has captured almost all the heroes, leaving only Yuga Aoyama left. We love Yuga, don't we, folks? He takes his support belt and derides him for being a quote traitor, but Aoyama declares his intention to keep following in the light of his classmates and starts flashing his leaking naval laser. Starts flashing his leaking naval laser. Because it's like leaky, I guess. I don't know. I didn't register with this much. I didn't register that much with this part of the episode, I don't think. Because all the All Might shit hits me way harder. Aoyama's an interesting story, and I'm glad that they were mindful enough to let his arc reach some sort of satisfying conclusion, which is what we're seeing here. But I don't know. Always be twinkling, Chizu, belly button shit. Belly buttons are sexy. Unless you don't think they're sexy like I do. And I think that they're gross. But you know what? We take Aoyama with the good and the bad. Anyway, he's a traitor, blah, 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 blah. Starts keeping in the light of his classmates, starts watching his leaking naval agent. What a way to fucking word that. Anyway, unaware Kunyaida, Toru Hagakure, that's the invisible girl, is invisible, there you go, nearby, and uses Aoyama's lasers to knock the villain out. Knock the fuck out like a sucker. As a result of his power, Jesus, why? Reading's hard, but also Toru's, how often do you fucking read out loud? You know what I mean? Get out of here. Toru's invisibility starts to glitch, and the two begin rescuing the heroes. All Might uses his remaining tools to keep All for One contained as long as possible until the laser overheats, with a child-size glowing All for One emerging from the crater. Before he can fight back, his body suddenly freezes in place as Stain appears to aid All Might in the fight. I'm singing Sailor Moon music right now because that's how it feels when Stain flies in and all of a sudden he's saving the goddamn day. Also, I have that part of a Sailor Moon soundtrack going in my ear right now. I didn't even watch Sailor Moon, but got some fucking fire OST, you know what I'm saying? So the end of an era and the beginning, that's episode 161's title and the one that just came out. After having tracked the two down, Stain and All Might charge at the paralyzed, Christ, Stain and All Might charge at the paralyzed All for One. However, the villain uses several of his own quirks to break free. Annoyed at his refusal to submit to him, All for One proceeds to kill Stain and take his quirk. Yeah, let's talk about how he killed Stain, okay? Because I thought he killed him one time, and then he didn't. He just killed him a different time. So Stain comes in on this motherfucking, like, green goblin fucking glider and freezes All for One. All for One basically uses whatever bullshit quirk he's got hidden up his sleeve this time. Like, this was probably not the first time, but it reminded me that I've had moments in this show where I'm like, of course, All for One thought about that, and already stole somebody's quirks to deal with it. Of course he fucking did. And he's going to use the quirk now, even though we've never had any idea that this quirk would have fucking existed in him or that he's used it in the past. I'm sure I've had this feeling before, okay? But this time, for whatever reason, I think maybe because I was like subjected to watching him expel all of his own blood. And I'm like, that's fucking gross, dude. Keep that shit in you. I don't want to see that. Get that out of here. Like bodily fluids in general. You know, everyone thinks about poop. Everyone thinks about pukes. And I get it. Nobody wants to see that stuff. But also, people don't want to see blood. Like, there's a certain fucking faction of people out there in the world. When they see a motherfucker get a little baby cut, that's it. They fucking pass out. It's gross. This motherfucker expelled all of his blood and, like, changed his DNA. And all of a sudden, the Stain's power don't work. And I'm like, man, this guy really does have a solution for everything. It's kind of fucking annoying. All right. Like, the only solution we have is to beat the shit out of him so bad that he rewinds down into a fucking little baby, and then we Hitler baby that shit. You know what I mean? It's very fucking frustrating. Anyway, Stain's the man. Well, kind of a piece of shit. He killed like 40 heroes or whatever, but everyone remembers him for not being that big of a piece of shit because he respected and loved All Might on this, throughout the entire, season 2, I think, is the hero killer Stain arc. He's always held like All Might in this upright, position where he's the only one that fucking matters and everyone else is a false hero and all this shit, kills 40 heroes. They have this cool flashback. I don't know if we're going to read about it in this fucking thing. I'm shooting from the fucking hip here. They have this really cool flashback that I'm not sure if they've ever shown before. This could be a brand new thing, and it probably is, but I certainly don't remember. I guess maybe Stain talks about it. Maybe this is the first time we've actually seen it animated, because you have to have some kind of insight and understanding into why Stain is the way he is. And basically it's because All Might's not a piece of shit and understands. So Stain and younger All Might, there's a flashback of them facing off. And Stain's like, so what are you going to do? Kill me now? Because I've killed 40 heroes. And All Might's basically like, nah, man, I get it. What? What'd you say, All Might? So I thought that was again, I'm not sure if we've seen that flashback episode before. There's a lot of 161 episodes now. Like, that's a lot of shit to remember. Thought it was a cool flashback. But yeah, he sends him flying, All for One, send him flying through 1 billion buildings. And I was like, shit, Stain don't have the kind of quirk that lets you live through that. Somehow, though, he did. And then All for One comes and steals his quirk, does all the blood stuff, and it's nasty. And I'm like, Christ, man. Can you fucking be a little bit cleaner about this? Wow, I think that's literally the first sentence into this thing. I may as well just start from the beginning again. After having tracked the two down, Stain and All Might charge the paralyzed All for One. However, the villain uses several of his quirks to break free. Annoyed at his refusal to submit to him, All for One proceeds to kill Stain and take his quirk. Steak. I'm fucking hungry, I guess. Stain uses his last words to tell All Might to live on and succeed. All Might is about to be killed by another attack, but the last remnants of Hercules sacrifice itself to save him. And Hercules is like his Friday, his Jarvis, or whatever, his Tony Stark fucking AI suit guy, I think. Anyway, I could be wrong on that, but I don't fucking know. Sacrifice itself to save him. All right, so All Might sees hallucinations of Nana Shimura and Sir Night Eye pushing him to keep fighting. That was kind of a nice little thing. I love how self-aware All Might is in that moment, where he's like, wow, that's my mentor, that's my teacher, my trainer. I'm hallucinating to give myself some motivation to fight. How selfish of me to borrow her image to do that. I'm just like, damn, dude, you've just got knocked the fuck out. Like, give yourself a break for 3 seconds. Anyway, now in range of UA and Deku and Shigaraki's battle. All for One attempts to warp Shigaraki to him, but the villain forcibly rejects his former master's interference, which was really cool. He does that sludge fucking teleport, and then Shigaraki shoves it back in his mouth, and he's like, nah, fuck that. You don't live here no more. And I'm like, fuck yeah, Shigaraki, you don't live here no more. You know, you gotta support your friends. So he shoves that mud back in his mouth and rejects All for One's interference. Instead, All for One drags All Might towards UA, intending to kill him in front of everyone, with Deku unable to help or else break the stalemate he has with Shigaraki. So I love this moment as well because they do this really effective flashback of Deku in beefed up All Might, you know, from probably back in season one, where he explains why he always smiles and his catchphrase is what it is, you know, I am here. And Deku's dialogue in the flashback is like, you need to stay alive so that way you can see the day where I reveal myself to the public and say that shit. And I'm like, yeah, All Might, you need to stay alive, dude. First of all, talk about a fucking unhinged Makati maniac, dude. All for One picking up this dude's basically dead fucking body, stiffening that shit up with Stain's quirk, and then just flying his ass out by his heel to the battlefield to murder him in front of his goddamn pupil. All of his friends, his teammates, everything. Talk about diabolical. That's some evil, evil shit, man. I really, really, I don't want to say enjoyed it, but I appreciated the fact that he is so committed to being that much of a prick. That's some madman shit. But Deku now has this choice to make where he's like stalemating Shigaraki, who, if he lets go of Shigaraki, Shigaraki's about to drop everybody. He can go kill everybody. But also he has this opportunity to, not opportunity, but he has this choice to make where he could just go potentially save All Might and get him out of the clutches. That's it. I had like 3 different words I was trying to pick from, and it came out crutches, which is a thing that helps you walk when your feet or legs hurt. So that's not an appropriate word choice. He has him in his clutches up by his fucking Achilles heel. Oh shit, is that a metaphor you think? He's holding him by the Achilles heel. And he's like, Deku, I got your fucking Achilles heel very literally and metaphorically over here. Make your choice, boy. I wonder if Deku's going to go try to save him, but he's, you know, having that back and forth with him throughout the entire time. So what's the next sentence, you think? Oh, okay. So they're in a stalemate. Deku has to make the decision. Resolved to end things this way, All Might prepares to activate a failsafe on his remaining piece of his suit to blow them both up, thinking about memories of his youth in the process. So there is a Nana Shimura flashback. I think it's from Shigaraki's perspective. So Shigaraki suddenly has access to a memory of All for One killing his grandma, Nana Shimura. And her last words to All for One are like, good luck beating Toshinori. He's fucking crazier than you, dude. I'm like, oh no, I know what that means. You're about to nuke them both. And then he goes to All for One, obviously has some fucking, yeah, but you forgot about my fucking trap card shit, and gets out of it right away. I don't know. It's just like, what's going to happen when Deku starts fighting him? Like, are they really going to have to let this motherfucker rewind back down to a baby so they can just like snap his neck? What the hell? I don't understand. But now Deku has to make this decision, right? So, he's going to blow himself up and it doesn't work. However, All for One destroys it and paralyzes All Might, gleefully ready to rip him apart in front of everyone, especially after Gentle and the American Jets are unable to stop him. Gentle criminal. What was it? Fucking something cups Imperial, lemon tips Imperial. Makes me miss Feds. Me and Feds did a lot of that season with Gentle and the Brava. And it is cool to see them continue to pop up and see that they're contributing. Gentle's so OP, dude. Like, he is the reason UA has not tumbled yet. And the idea that he could factor into this fight now, but probably won't because he is who he is and he won't fucking let the thing and then all for one shot it. And but also those fucking jets from what's her name? Lady Liberty or some shit? No, that's probably not her name, right? I fucking forget what her name is. You know what I'm talking about. The laser lady. She got the jets. She's from America. This is what I'm saying. There's too many things to remember. There's too many characters to remember. That lady's cool though. She dead, but her fighter jet pilots are still hanging out and they show up and they're like, we're gonna hit this bitch with a laser. No, the fuck you're not. Because again, I'm all for one and I have a solution to literally anything that you guys are gonna throw at me. So do me a favor, get fucked. You're dead now. Just but it's fun if you're a longtime fan of the show to remember these, those guys only came in last season, but Labrava and Gentle, that shit's like season 4, I think, season 5. Like, it's been a bit. Um, yeah, the school festival arc, right? Shit, I'm old. I'm very old. But also, if I was just somebody who was like watching this shit, hadn't watched much of it before, maybe I saw a few episodes. I'm like, oh, let's tune into the last season, see how that shit's gonna end. I missed most of the middle, but who gives a shit? All of a sudden, you got this dude with like a rubber trampoline. Who you're like, who is he again? And these fucking fighter jets, where the fuck's the American fighter jets come from? I'm like,
You say hi. Hi.
Mike's getting a beer. To have these people just pop in out of nowhere, it's like, how much shit do you have to know to fucking really appreciate and watch this shit? Because it seems like a fucking lot, dude. But in reality, they do a pretty nice job with giving you some flashbacks that are appropriate to kind of give you the context and even like a passing, fleeting way, still enjoy the fucking cool ass action that you're seeing. And I think that's always going to be, or always going to be, shit's going to be over after this season. I think that's always going to be considered one of the main strengths of this show is to kind of get you on board despite having to know a billion different things. So many things about the show still hit despite not always having that back context. I feel back context? Is that a new term? Is that a literary thing I just fucking invented? God damn, use your fucking words. As the world watches on in terror, Deku begs for anyone to save him. And up on UA, a revived Katsuki Bakugo emerges. Bakugo is alive, which I think most of us assumed. But the moment that him and Deku have is some intense shit. And I'll tell you why. Because they love each other so much. And they respect each other a ton now. And they've come a million miles from the beginning of their story when they were children, 4 or 5, whatever it is. Now, not only do they respect each other as, I mean, Katsuki Bakugo has to be like, yo, Deku's the next All Might. He didn't just fucking get that because he was lucky. He worked for it. Either way, they respect each other, but also in the fucking moment of them reconnecting and realizing that, they're both still alive. Because I'm sure Bakugo woke up and was like, fuck, I'm alive, but what happened to everyone else? Did Deku die? I'm sure that crossed his mind. They now also have their mentor, favorite guy, All Might, like dangling from his fucking heel. So now the question will be, what's gonna what? And then we get like all these little things at the end, and it's like they have the exchange between Katsuki and Deku to be like, yeah, All Might's probably about to die. Or it could be, who's gonna save him. And if you, watch the preview kind of insinuates that somebody's about to save All Might, probably Bakugo, which is cool. I'm down for that. I want to see it. But that moment was so intense and so drawn out, but not in a painful way. So I appreciated that. And it kind of got me, I don't want to say rock hard, but like half-mast. Not because they're high school boys, though, because they're superheroes. Not because they're high school age superheroes either, just because they're really good superheroes. Duh. So, I don't know. I don't really have a ton to say about these episodes that I haven't already said, and we're coming up on 30-ish minutes, which is impressive, at least for the raw audio. I don't know what the fuck this thing will get edited down to. I guess we'll see. But I don't have a ton to say. I have felt like that a lot lately. I don't have a ton to say. It's been fun to do this and read these synopses and fucking talk some shit off the top of my brain, smoking, drinking, having a good time on a Saturday night. Even if it is just solo in my brain, I'm talking to you guys like in a circle. I'm not at a campfire or anything, but maybe it would be an antisocial at a party and we're just talking shit in the living room, sitting on a couch, smoking some weed, and that's what you're listening to. Me, not letting you get a fucking word in edgewise because, this ain't Zoom, bitch. You don't have a mic on. We ain't recording you. We're recording me. And I'm sorry for that. I'm annoyed and tired by that as well. But seriously, I haven't had all that much to say. Dragon Ball Daima was actually I thought about this the other day. I can't remember who I saw tweeted or whatever, but like basically the tweet, the idea was maybe it was a mistake releasing Dragon Ball Daima and Budokai fucking 4 or whatever the fuck they call it. That's what I'm saying. Like releasing them on the same day might have been a mistake. Which, yeah, probably. You could have let that game, develop a little bit more, maybe have a little bit more content from the jump and less DLC stuff and whatever. I don't know. They probably could have afforded to spend more time on it, is my point. How they use it, who knows? And then Daima just wasn't really for me. There were very cool moments, very fun. It was a beautiful show. Music's pretty solid. Story at the end there gets a little, what the fuck do we do? That's how it feels. Regardless of who wrote it, who knows if Toriyama finished it all up or if it was done by committee. But since March, when it ended, I don't know. I don't have all that much to say about Dragon Ball. It is, not a dead property by any stretch of the imagination, but there's not a ton of new stuff going on until hopefully a manga comes back at some point in the not so distant future. But we've been saying that for a couple of years now, right? So, yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff that you could do with Dragon Ball related stuff, and I'm sure that's what you're saying to yourself. Kyle, talk about the fucking Cell arc or whatever. I don't fucking care. That's the thing, man. I don't really give a shit. It's just been talked to death for the last 30 fucking years. You really need to hear the shit I fucking think about it? Nah, you don't. And do I need to record it? Nah, I don't. I don't give a fuck. New shit though, that's at least fun stuff to react to and think about, But it also is kind of a double-edged sword in that regard where it's like, that's not that evergreen content that you as a podcast maker slash producer should aspire to create. Because it sits on a shelf for a fucking week before it's more or less irrelevant the following week. Something just fell behind me and I'm not sure what it is. It's okay though. There's no massive damage or anything like that. I have watched a bunch of other stuff since March. I don't know, man. Like stuff that I enjoyed enough to, freak out about a little bit, but like not actually turn on a microphone and podcast about. But if you think about it, this is the stuff that has come out since I last made a podcast on the last episode of Daima. This is what's come out. Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts feels like 5 years ago, dude. Superman. I should have made a podcast episode on Superman. I almost did, actually, but depression is what it is. And also, fucking cares. I'm not going to be able to do it as good as most people will. Granted, it's my own fucking perspective, my own opinion, my own voice, whatever. That's kind of the fucking thing with podcasting, right? You got to be like, well, I believe that my take on it matters. It doesn't. Who cares? But Superman was fucking amazing. One of the best goddamn superhero movies. Me, I'm not ever. I'll say it's a top 10 superhero movie to me. I'm a little unsure about that. Well, let's just say to be safe, top 15. But like, if you look at it just a standalone film, it's probably a top 10. Not a standalone film outside of the superhero genre. I mean, without having any preceding things to build towards it. So like Endgame or Infinity War, if you need like 15 fucking movies to lead me up to that story to have it make sense and have me hit it the way it does, that's in a different category for me than Superman. That Superman movie they could never make another movie in that DC universe, and that Superman movie will continue to be great. What else? Fantastic Four. I'll tell you what. The worst thing about Fantastic Four is that it came out 2 weeks after Superman. I was walking out of the theater with my dad and my buddy Artie. Artie's the dude who makes, podcast art with me for shows and shit, right? Made this super dope logo, made the advice logo stuff. My dad's like, you know what sucks about that movie? And I was like, the fact that Superman came out 2 weeks before it. He's like, how did you know? I'm like, first of all, you're my dad. We have a very similar brain. And Artie was like, that's exactly what I was thinking. I wish they would have swapped release dates. That too was a very fun standalone movie. Regardless of the other Marvel continuity. I'm excited to see where that shit goes. Kind of. I'm more excited for the eventual reset of the Marvel Universe if we're being real. But I also watched The Bear. Oh, latest season of The Bear. Not all of it. I'm not going to spoil nothing. It's a very stressful show. It's a very beautiful show. But it's fucking stressful. It's funny, though. But then I realized I just finished I guess I should say I've watched a lot of baseball in the last 6 months. Me, Mike, Norm, Amber, we're basically a baseball club. This year we were anyway. I don't think we're going to be renewing it for next year, unfortunately. Long story. But we watched a lot of Red Sox games this year. We watched a lot of Dodgers games this year. Those are our two teams for the American League and National League, respectively. I know what you're thinking, Kyle. Dodgers fan. They're like basically as bad as the 90s Yankees, right? Yeah, but they're cooler. They got Shohei. Oh, but Shohei is he fucking framed his goddamn interpreter for all that gambling. He's a goddamn anime character, okay? Look at that hair, look at that stance, look at that style, look at that demeanor, look at that ability to put up 50 fucking dingers and also strike out 50 motherfuckers on a year that you're rehabbing back as a starting pitcher. Shohei's great. Also, Mookie Betts, former Red Sox great. I kind of regret every day the Red Sox traded him. Freddie Freeman, fucking stud, even if he got them big old fucking horse teeth veneers. Genuinely nice guy, it seems. Also, Kike Hernandez, which I realized that, I was like, Kike, what kind of name is that? Kike, that's weird with a little accent over it. I'm like, oh, that's short for Enrique, okay. And then earlier this week, I noticed he changed the spelling, and now he goes by Enrique again. And I was like, wonder what inspired that. And then I was texting Melor about it the other day. If you're a longtime big super dope fan, Melor has been on random shit throughout the years, but he lives in Texas now. I don't see him as much, but we talk all the time. And I'm texting him about Dodgers, and he's like, you're a fucking traitor. What do you mean, like the Dodgers? And I'm like, come on, man, Kike, he's the best. And then he's like, Kike, fuck Kike. And I'm like, come on, man, fuck Kike. He's like, and I mean the baseball player, not the Jews. And I was like, oh my God, how have I never put together that those two words are spelled the same way? Hats off to me for not seeing Judaism. I don't really know. But anyway, a lot of baseball. My brain is fucking fried on baseball. Let's go Toronto. Let's go Dodgers. Fuck the Yankees. Watching David Ortiz yell, the Yankees lose with Vladdy Jr. is top 10 baseball moment for me in the last few years. And I say the last few years, like I've watched baseball a bunch the last few years. I haven't. I used to follow baseball very closely for about a decade between the years of 2004 and like 2018. So what's that? Like 15 years. And then I started, coincidentally, around that same time, podcasting. So I stopped keeping up with Major League Baseball and most sports. Football, fuck football, who cares? But I love baseball. And it's cool to watch it with Mike and Amber. That keeps me invested because we talk a lot of shit. And we have a good time with it. I just yesterday finished watching Ted Lasso for the first time. I don't know if you're a T-Mobile subscriber for your cell phone service, but Mike Norm, the ultimate fucking discount shopper, he made me aware that with a T-Mobile subscription, you get, I remember when I got this new iPhone, they were like, hey man, you got to update your fucking subscription, whatever. If you update to this one, we'll give you free Netflix. And I'm like, cool. And then I open it up and it's Netflix with ads. And I'm like, not that cool, actually. Actually, that kind of blows. But in the 2 years that I've owned this phone now, roughly, they've added other things to that kind of perk deal that they have, including free MLB TV and free Apple TV. The only reason I know about that stuff, Mike Norm. Okay. So the long and the short is MLB had not a bunch. They had Friday night baseball games on and the Red Sox played in a few of them. So we had to get Apple TV. And I was like, well, that's cool. There's a bunch of television shows on there that I want to watch, including Ted Lasso. I'm not going to reveal much of the premise of Ted Lasso, I guess. Like, if you haven't watched it, the 30-second pitch is a D2 college football coach gets hired to go coach a football soccer team in England for some fucking reason. And he's like the most positive dude in the world. And because he's such a wonderful coach, despite not knowing shit about soccer or football overall, he turns around the culture of a team. Blah, 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 blah. A lot of emotionals up and downs with all the characters. It's a show well worth your time. Okay. I seriously don't think I've ever watched a television show that tightly written. And I say tightly in that I just finished the third season. They're now in production on a fourth season. But this third season was meant to be the finale for the last few years. And if you look at it as the finale, it is a mostly super tight written story. And it is emotionally gutting at times. And it is so goddamn funny. And Jason Sudeikis is just a fucking joy, as is the guy who plays Coach Beard, the guy who plays Roy Kent, the woman who plays Rebecca. It's like so perfectly cast. And it's, a show, football, soccer is not it's not what the show's about. It's just a vehicle for the show to have these characters meet and have the interactions and how they learn and change and grow from having known one another. And it is so goddamn good. If you have a T-Mobile account, go get your free Apple TV subscription and watch it, because it'll make you ugly cry, but also make you piss your pants laughing sometimes. I would honestly say it hits more on the ugly cry spectrum than it does on the piss your pants, though. Lots of ugly cries. I realize it's actually sort of the invert. It's like the same story as The Bear. Like, it's very centered around like mental health issues and how you address them or how you cover for them, which actually Ted Lasso has a couple of scenes that focus very heavily on the reality of panic attacks. I haven't had a million panic attacks in my life, thankfully, but I've had like 4 or 5 probably over the last, say, 20 years. And man, the way that they depict panic attacks and the way that you feel before, during, and after, whew, fucking hits hard, man. Anyway, Ted Lasso and The Bear are basically inverse shows of one another. One of them covers up mental health issues with like toxic positivity. And The Bear is like, fuck you. I fucking hate you. I'm going to throw this goddamn beef sandwich at your face. Cousin Richie, you fuck. Anyway, this has been fun. 40 minutes. I told myself that if I shoot for 60 minutes, maybe I'll get 40 minutes. And the raw audio is coming up on 40 minutes. Thanks to everybody who has been trying to shake me out of my funk. I'm not out of it. But I sincerely do appreciate you checking in. There's been a handful of you that continue to check in on me. And that's cool. Appreciate you guys, I don't know if I'm going to do next week for My Hero Academia. Maybe this is a new little system I developed where I fucking come crouch in my goddamn aunt's garage for 45 minutes. But that's it. I guess the ultimate takeaway from this is in the grand scheme of all that is happening around us and to the people around us all the time, in the grand scheme of all that shit, me talking about this stupid ass cartoon, which, it's not stupid. It's actually pretty fucking amazing and terrific and beautiful and emotionally impactful and has a lot of strong morals and messages. Who fucking cares about me talking about this stupid ass cartoon made for 12-year-old boys in Japan? So with that understanding, at least, maybe we'll do another one of these in a couple weeks. But thanks for listening. If you're still on the Patreon and you got the uncut version of this shit, you're a goddamn saint. Thank you for the fucking pack of cigarettes and a Diet Coke, 2-liter. You are the realist. And we'll see you next time for Super Dope Plus Ultra? Question mark. Da-da-da-da-da, with a peace sign, gonna go and bang your mother. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba